We are Study Fusion. I am Josh Thorpe. I am the web designer.
I'm Thomas Williams, team lead and web engineer.
I'm Andrew Darrington, the database architect.
And this is Study Fusion. It's not easy for people to get into groups in the college setting. It's not very easy for people to meet other people and go out of their way to try and work together on a specific project or maybe studying for an exam, which is what our main focus is. We wanted to make it easier for people to get together and hopefully improve grades and maybe make some friends along the way. Current social sites or apps that are out nowadays don't really bring about the same kind of cohesion that we're liking to actually have accessible. Clusterflunk is a site that people are able to log into and upload documentation, discuss things with with other people in courses, but in recent upgrades, it's taking away the whole class structure, and it seems to be more about people uploading documentation just to get answers for things, not necessarily learning. Study Blue had a good idea at first to where you could dynamically create classes, enroll, and then you could share note cards and study for exams and quizzes. Up until recently though, however, it is now no longer free. You have to pay a minimum of $4 a month to be able to access all other people's flashcards. Facebook obviously is more along the lines of just getting to know people, keeping in touch with people you already know. You can create events, meet people, but personally more of a distraction than actual social interaction. None of the sites I mentioned before really take advantage of the positive effects that working with groups can provide. There's an online void between people that need to get together and improve grades or try to at least do the best they can, or just getting together in general. Our objectives for Study Fusion is to be able to facilitate the formation of these study groups, get people together, kind of get a foreground of what people can do together, improve grades, providing a support system. If one person is having an issue, maybe somebody else is having the same issue, they can discuss, and hopefully that would help them and their peers to be able to improve. Our social web app uses mapping features that are combined with geolocation and a class structure that allows users to see when and where other people are going to be at a time to get together to study. They have the ability to post on events to communicate whether they're going to be able to show up or not. And we offer an achievement system to kind of give people an incentive to get together with others to work and to help improve their grades. Like I mentioned before, students will be able to check into buildings or locations and post when and where they're studying. The create feature allows people to go to a desired location, and only other students enrolled in the same courses will be able to RSVP and communicate with those people. There's going to be a discussion board on each class. Only those who are enrolled will be able to discuss with other students to talk about assignments, exams, or anything else that they would like to discuss. We will also have the ability for students to have a friends list of sorts to allow themselves to keep better track of those that they would like to study with, and then maybe some that they would rather not be able to study with. The achievement system rewards consistent users, those that are able to get together more often than others, or show more initiative to actually use the product. An example would be that they spend 20 hours a week studying for a specific thing. They join a group with more than 3 people, or they mark a location 15 times a week. Kind of allowing them to dictate what locations may be better for studying than others. We use the site features include a model view controller structure using CodeIgniter for the backend framework. We use, it's an intuitive user interface scalable from desktop to mobile using Foundation. We are going to follow a RESTful page principles and a single application using HTML5 history API to adjust URLs.
Alright, and here I'm going to take over and explain a little bit about the views and how they're going to be set up. On the home page, we're going to have the class section element, a map element, the campus challenges, and then user profile. Each of these, this is just the regular campus-wide page that you see. The map element is going to show everybody who's in any of your classes who's checked in. So you can see the campus at a glance. You can see there's 5 people studying for my networks class in the library, so you can do that. We'll have the user profile, which has the achievements that you've done. Kind of add a little competition in there between you and your friends, get people to come back. And then we'll have campus-wide challenges, weekly things. This student has logged the most hours this week, stuff like that. That'll be all on the home page view. And then for the class page view, we'll have very similar elements. The class section will be the same, so you'll be able to navigate between any of your classes from any page. But the map element, this one, will only contain people studying for the current class that you've selected. Then we'll have class information, statistics, number of people studying, how often they're studying. Then we're also going to have future events on this page, which is underneath the class information there. List of students enrolled in it, and then a discussion board for students to communicate within the class.
So then we had to decide how to handle the class structure. Would we have a drop-down menu of all the classes in the school, or would we have users input it? We were originally going to do the drop-down thing, but that made it difficult if we were going to do multiple schools and not just Mizzou, because we could parse Mizzou's, then we had to do a different parser for every format of website. So we decided to have users input the classes that they would take, so they'll import a subject like comp sci and then the class number like 4970, and then from there they can add sections if they want, and then the database will check to make sure that there's no duplicate classes. So if they try to input one that's already input, it won't let them do that. It'll tell them that it's already been created, and it'll make loading the classes a lot easier for everyone. And this is the database structure for the class. Students will log in with the student email, so it'll know which school they belong to, and when they add a class, it'll add a class with the same school ID as the user has, and then each class can have many students, and then each class section will have its own discussion board, and that will all be saved into the comment section of that particular class. And then for user profiles, each user will have the option to have either friends or blocked users, which provides a little bit of security for them if they don't want certain people following them. And then it'll also have comment history, so when they comment you can see like the most 10 recent comments that a user made. And users information, which will be used for the achievement system, how much time they spent using it, where they usually study, and all that information. And this is the user database. So each student can join up to a certain amount of classes, and then they'll have their own branch off for friends list, and then the status on friends would be blocked or friend.
Alright, I'm going to walk you through how we're going to put together the campus map, have sort of a heat map for where people are studying at a certain time. We're going to use the Google Maps tiling service, which provides the background layer of the map. This will include the road names, locations. Google Maps, we chose to use them because they also have building names built in now, which will be very useful for students who want to go to a certain building, wherever they can see the title there. And then on top of the Google API tiling, we're going to have Leaflet, which is a JavaScript library, and that's what we're going to use to place and customize the markers. With Leaflet, what you can do is you can go in, you click on each individual user and have a pop-up, see what they're studying, all that stuff. Like I said, it's JavaScript. This is an example, a little bit of code from how simple Leaflet can be. You simply initialize the map at the GPS location and zoom level, and then we can add markers through Ajax. is what we're going to use to have it live update. Down there at the bottom, the wall markers is pseudocode for that. Leaflet plugins we're going to use. OSM Buildings provides, for each of the buildings it adds like a 3D layer to it. So it makes planning a little bit easier. It doesn't go as far as have levels and stuff, but it makes it easier to differentiate between buildings. Accurate Positions really does help with geolocation. It can peg you down to a certain size or a certain side of a big room, which will be useful and have an accurate heat map. Like I said, Ajax will be used. Keep the map updated, so you'll always be able to see who's on, what's going on campus. Let's see. All right. When a student selects that they want to plan a future event, they'll either have the choice of selecting from previous locations, or their current location, or adding a new location. And when they add a new location, they mark it on the map, and then they add a building description, and then where in the building they're going to be. This will all be saved in the database, which then can be retrieved for other students to see if they're planning future events. For here on Mizzou, in the computer science, EBW 142 is where a lot of people meet to do labs. That would be a commonly selected one, so it'd just immediately pop up. Spontaneous studying is more like a check-in feature. Say you're in the library, you pull out your phone, or wherever you go to the website and you just hit check-in. They'll log your GPS location and update on heat map, and then you can say what you're studying, what class you're doing, whatever. So then other students will be able to see and connect with you through that. Like I said, this is a rundown of the different tech that we're going to use for the mapping and geolocation. We use Leaflet because it's open source, it's dependable, and it's really lightweight. It's well documented, lots of people have used it, and the plugins allow for expanded functionality. There's a lot of plugins that we could use and take advantage of. Google Map API is free within a certain number of requests. You go into the map, you could change the road colors, whatever, make the map look pretty, make people want to keep using it. And then the building names are integrated in the map, which is important.
Then we've implemented several security features. Main one is to make sure the student is actually enrolled into a college and not just some random person. They have to have a valid student ID or email address, so they'll have to log in with that. And then they can also choose if they have their actual name listed, or they can have an alias or username, so people can't see that. And then they can have a blocked users list, which they can block any user they want, so if they're being followed or stalked or anything, they can prevent that by that. And then they'll have a maximum number of classes they can be enrolled into, so they can't just join every class and just follow whoever they want. They can only join, right now we have it set to 8 probably, so that's the maximum they can do. For the technologies, for the database, we're going to use Postgres, because all we needed was a relational database, so Postgres was available to us, and it has a lot of features. It has a geolocation feature if we need it. And then its cost is free to us for now because Mizzou provides it for us. So that's another reason we did it.
For our user UI for the front end, we decided to use Foundation. It mostly contains a lot of HTML and CSS-based design templates for typography, forms, buttons, anything that normal HTML and CSS has to provide, except with a few added advanced features and JavaScript extensions. It's compatible with all major browsers, and it even supports partial compatibility, which allows for a browser that may or may not be completely compatible. It is able to dynamically change itself and adjust to make sure that it can at least be viewed in that browser. It's modular. It contains a series of SAS style sheets and implements various components of the toolkit. The standard 940 pixel wide grid layout allows it to be fully responsive to adjust to different resolutions and types of devices such as mobile phones and the portrait/landscape design, as well as tablets and PCs. It has a reusable HTML components, like I mentioned before, with a couple different added features so that it's easier to go back and forth between HTML. And it lastly is based on the Zepto.js, which is an alternative and kind of API compatible and lighter API to jQuery. Our backend uses CodeIgniter, which I mentioned before is usually based on a model view controller. It's rapid development and it's free. It's actually maintained off of GitHub. It's loosely based because it makes it to where only the view or only the controller classes are necessary. The models and views are optional. And it's most noted for its speed compared to other PHP frameworks.
All right, this is just a rundown of the general languages, technologies we're going to use to build the site. JavaScript is going to be the heavy lifter as far as the mapping function and keeping everything updated. PHP, CSS, HTML are going to be the building blocks of the site. Ajax, jQuery, those are going to be used to have the events and keep things live without having to refresh the page. SQL for the database, and then Java-C for any additional back-end work that we're going to have to run into. We haven't run into any of that where we're going to have to do it yet, but that's just our backup plan.
And then for the sprint schedule, this isn't all necessarily in order, it's just the things, a bit more of a to-do list. But the initial thing is we're just going to set up the basic web design, and then we're going to initialize the database, then start getting them to communicate between each other. And then from that, we're going to start building up the bigger features, all the class structures, and then the actual mapping and the geolocation stuff. And then we'll add discussion boards to the classes, and the achievement system will come last, and then we'll just start testing and finishing up.
All right, and then I threw together a demo using Axure for this site. This is just framework. This isn't really probably should test this. Okay, so this is just a general layout of, all the different functions. I said earlier we have the class section, the campus challenge boards, your profile, friends list, stuff like that, and the map. And with the main functionality of the site, being the study thing, the study button right here pops up, has your GPS location. You just select the class, the assignment, which the assignments will also be in the database, so that if multiple people are working on the same thing, it'll show that, and we can integrate that within the achievements and stuff like that. Location description, say you're the north side of the library alongside the tables. And then estimated time, you're going to be there for an hour. You want people come meet up with you, go. Location's marked on the map. Your location is then clickable. Other people can see that and see all the information you just entered. And then other than just the campus-wide view, we'll also have individual classes, have the class statistics, most top studied topics, what's studied most this week, students enrolled in the class, regular study groups or pre-planned events, and then the discussion board down at the bottom. So if you ever wanted to plan a study group, you set the location. You can select from locations that other people have used before, or you could add a new one, mark it on the map. Date, time, instead of repeating, so you want to meet up every Monday at 4 o'clock in the Alice Library. And then you just add a description and save it, and then that would be automatically added onto the map. And that's about it.